What's up guys, welcome to the WIX Club. In this video I'm going to show you how to display related items in your WIX dynamic page. So let's assume you have a list of items like you can see over here, and you want to be able to show your items that are related to this specific item. So for example, I've opened up these over here. As you can see, this is a dynamic page, and in this page you can see that we have a field called related items, and what this does is that it's going to filter the items that are similar to this displayed item. Alright, so as you can see over here, we have the cuisine, which is Italian, and what I did is to show the 3 items that belong to that same category, which is the Italian cuisine. And then we have the cost, which is cheap, and we also went ahead to display the items that matches that same category. So you see we have the Italian cuisine and we have the cost, which is cheap, and these 3 items actually matches what is being displayed. This will help your customers or your site visitors not to leave this page easily. At least they're going to have a feed on other items. So I'm going to show you how to get that done. For the next example, we have Italian and it's expensive, and you can see that we have Italian and expensive as they come. So this is exactly what we want to try to do. And we also have another cuisine, which is the French cuisine, and we have French and cheap, and over here you can see that it's also French and it's cheap. So this is exactly what you want to try to do. You can see that this is an amazing feature and it's so much fun. Don't worry, this is going to be a codeless tutorial. You don't have to write a single line of code. It's going to be completely using dataset filters, and let's get started. All right, so here in our page, our editor here, you can see that this is the front page. By the way, you can check out my other tutorial on how to use a multi tag filter. All right, so all these are tags and you can just combine the values to filter. Let me just show you a pic of that before we go into the main tutorial for the day. All right, so over here you can click on the keyword French, and you're going to see that all items that are French are displayed, and this actually goes ahead to count how many items matches what you've selected. Now we can go ahead to choose more on the items, which over here is French and London. So we can see that from these are the locations. You can see from these tags that we have London selected. All these are London displayed items. All right, so this really is a very cool feature. You can go ahead to combine more on the location, and it's going to refine your search further. You can check this feature out in my YouTube. So the first thing we want to add here is we're going to add a button to overlay the repeater. So as you can see, I have no button that shows where to click on when you're going to move or navigate to a dynamic page. So I want to show you how to do this simple trick. Just go ahead to delete the label, and we're going to change the background to transparent color. So we're going to go over to the background and fields and change this transparency over to 0. We're going to do the same thing for the hover. We want to make sure that we get rid of every color, and the border, you can see there is a black border there, so we're going to change that to 0. Make sure that nothing shows at all. So now we have a colorless button. What we're going to do is to drag and drop this onto our repeater, attach that to item. So we're going to drag this item across our repeater just like that, so that the user can actually click on any location on any of the items to navigate to the dynamic page. So I'm just going to do that nicely, and then the next thing we want to do here is to connect that to our dynamic page. So as you can see over from here, we have a dynamic page which is called restaurant title. So I'm going to connect these button to the items. So I'm going to connect that from here, and I'm going to move over to click action connect to, and I'm going to click on the restaurant title. So this is going to bring all the items to the respective dynamic pages. All right, so this section is all done. Now let's navigate back to the dynamic page. Here in the dynamic page, you can see that we have our item title, we have the cost over here, which is expensive or cheap if that is the case, and we have the cuisine. So we're working with the cuisine and we're working with the cost field. So what we're going to do is to scroll down a little bit. As you can see, I have a repeater all set out, but this repeater is not connected to data yet. So that's what we're going to do. To connect this to data, head to the plus over there, and then we're going to go to the content manager. Now click on the data set and add that to your page. And I'm going to connect this data set to the same database where I connected the first items on the home page, which are these items. So I'm going to go ahead to configure this data set by first of all connecting to the same database. Next, I'm going to make sure that I reduce this item to 3 number of items to display. I'm going to reduce that to 3 because I only want to show the items 3 items as suggested items. Now I'm going to connect this repeater to my data set. So over here, I'm going to click on the item. As you can see, this is called restaurant data set. So I'm going to connect that to the restaurant data set. This is the new data set I just created. And then we have the button, which is this button over here. I'm going to connect the label to my cost. And then I'm going to go head back to the title over here, which is the text. I'm going to connect that to my title. And then the next item, which is this text over here, I'm going to connect that to my cuisine. So I'm going to go over to the cuisine and connect that. And then we want to connect the price and everything else. So the location field, which as you can see over here, I'm not going to connect that to database because I have used a tag to display the items. So let me just preview that for a moment and show you how that displays. So you can check out my tutorial on how to display tags on your WIX repeater or your WIX regular page, and also on your WIX dynamic page. So that is what I have used here, and we're going to head back into our editor. So I'm going to connect the background to the images because we have images. I'm going to click on the background of my repeater, and I'm going to go to the image and connect that to the image, and that is working. So we're going to head back into our data set over here, and we're going to configure this or filter this so that it actually shows items from related items from our main data set, which as you can see over here is called restaurant items. All right, so I'm going to head back there and click on settings. All right, so I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and we're going to find something called a filter. So I'm going to go to this section called add filter. I'm going to click on that, and the first field we're going to work on, as you can see all the fields in our database from here. The first field I want to work on is the cuisine field. So I'm going to click on the cuisine field. And what I want to say over here is I want to say that the value source is another data set, and the other data set on my page is called restaurant items. So if we head back into if we scroll up a little bit, you can see that this data set is called restaurant item. This data set is what is connected to these items over here. So I want to show a little bit of similarity. So I'm going to head back to the add filter, and I'm going to click again on the cuisine, and then I'm going to say another data set, and then I'm going to click on the restaurant item. And then next I'm going to choose what field I'm trying to compare. I'm going to also connect it to the cuisine field. All right, then I'm going to say add filter. Now you're going to see that this could change. These items displayed are going to change, and this is because we've been able to filter all items that are related to the main data set, which is called restaurant item. Now let's preview this and let's check this out. All right, so here we can just scroll up a little bit, and you can see that the cuisine category here is called French. And if we scroll down back to our related items, you can see that all the cuisine categories are also called French. Now we're going to add one more filter. As you can see, we have the costs which are showing differently. This is cheap, this is expensive, this is cheap. So we want to go further to make sure that our items actually matches what is being displayed on the current page. So I'm going to head back again into the settings, and I'm going to again go to the filter section. I want to add another field, so I'm going to do the same step for the cost. So I'm going to head to the field, and I'm going to look for the field called cost. I'm going to click on cost, and then again another data set, the same data set which is restaurant item, and then I'm going to click again on the field called cost, and then add filter. So this is going to compare the both items and then display what categories are being displayed. All right, so as you can see, we have all expensive. Let's preview these and see how this works. Now this is amazing. Let's scroll up. As you can see, we have the cost category is called expensive, and then we have the category for the cuisine is French. Now all items matching that will be displayed. All right, so we have the expensive, and then we have the French over here. Now this is not the only thing we can actually do here with the data set. We can actually go ahead to sort this data set by the date they were created or by the date they were updated. All right, so I'm going to go ahead to add a sort, which is, as you can see, it's over here. I'm going to go ahead to change or add a new sort. There is already a default sort for dates created new to old, but I'm going to change that to old to new. Let's change that and see if that changes our items. Yes, it does change our items. All right, so you can go ahead to play with this tool. You can go ahead to change or compare as many fields as you have in order to show your site visitors the exact match of the related item. So if you notice, this is actually a related item because we have the course category, we have the cuisine, which is the French category, all showing in our related item. Again, if you want to display more items on your data set, you can just head back into your data set and click on the settings, and over here at number of items to display, you can change that to 6, for example. I'm not sure we have up to 6 items that matches our filter, so that may not really work for now. But if you have more items, you want to display more items for your site visitors, you can feel free to do that. Now let's reduce this to 2 and see how that works. Yes, so you can see that has reduced the number of items being displayed to 2 because 2 items actually matches our filter. So I'm going to go ahead to change back the number of items to display to 3. Now 3 actually makes a lot of sense because then it's just a related item. They don't need to see everything. You can always redirect them to your shop page. Alright, so this is how you can actually make use of this tool. If you haven't checked out my other tutorials on multiple selection tag filter, you can go ahead to check the video, and also to check the tutorial on how to display selection tags or tags on your Wix repeater, you can go ahead to check out the tutorial. The link is in the description below. Alright, so thank you very much for viewing this video. I hope you did enjoy it. Don't forget to subscribe and also hit the like button. Again, you can check out my website, which is called wixgenius.com, and you can head over to the Wix tutorials. I have made a bunch of tutorials here for you, 13 tutorials in total, so you can go ahead to check out the tutorial that you want to. I'm going to also leave a link to this tutorial here, and you're going to find this current tutorial on how to display similar categories. It's going to appear here in a few hours after posting this video. All right, thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.